Welcome to Mastering Conflict, From Clash to Collaboration, a short micro-learning series designed for busy teams and creators. In this video we'll explore practical ways to spot tension early, choose the right approach, and turn disagreements into better outcomes, all with concrete tools you can use on YouTube or in everyday meetings. This course is organized into 6 clear sections: fundamentals, conflict styles, the resolution process, mediation skills, prevention culture, and action planning. Over the next few minutes we'll preview each area so you know what to expect and how the pieces fit together to help teams move from friction to productive collaboration. In this first module we'll cover conflict fundamentals, what conflict really is, why it shows up in modern workplaces, and why early recognition matters. You'll get a compact framework to understand tension between interdependent people and a few practical signs to spot before disagreements escalate into productivity and morale problems. Let's define workplace conflict simply. It's tension between interdependent parties driven by differing goals, values, or scarce resources. Conflicts are common and often costly, consuming hours of managerial time, so catching them early can prevent escalation, preserve team dynamics, and keep performance high by addressing issues before they become entrenched. Conflicts often arise from structural ambiguity, scarce resources, identity clashes, or data gaps, so it helps to know the typical root causes. Early warning signs include prolonged silence, sarcastic remarks, missed deadlines, or sudden CC loop escalation, and recognizing those cues gives you an opportunity to intervene before the situation deteriorates. Next, we'll explore conflict styles and why knowing your default approach matters. Understanding different styles helps you adapt to the situation, avoid predictable blind spots, and choose behaviors that preserve relationships while resolving issues. This awareness is the bridge between theory and better day-to-day responses. The Thomas Gilman model maps 5 conflict styles along assertiveness and cooperativeness, from competing and collaborating to compromising, avoiding, and accommodating. Each style has situational strengths and drawbacks, so doing a quick self-assessment helps reveal defaults and blind spots you can flex when the context calls for a different approach. Choosing the optimal style means matching your approach to what's at stake and the relationship involved. Compete for non-negotiables, collaborate when both goals matter, compromise when time is short, avoid trivial matters, and accommodate to preserve critical relationships. Flexibility prevents recurring conflicts and leads to better long-term outcomes. Now we move into the resolution process, a structured way to turn tense conversations into productive dialogue. The goal is to create a safe, neutral space, surface interests instead of positions, and move from blame to practical options that everyone can commit to and review later to ensure follow-through. A simple 6-step dialogue roadmap keeps conversations focused. Start by setting neutral ground rules, surface perceptions without blame, and list underlying interests to build a shared foundation. Then brainstorm expandable options, agree on fair criteria, and commit to a review date. This sequence helps keep discussions constructive and controlled. Powerful, open questions are key to de-escalation because they replace judgment with curiosity. Use future-oriented prompts like "What outcome would make this meeting worthwhile for you?" or "What data would change your view?" These kinds of questions lower defensiveness, surface shared goals, and invite partners into problem-solving instead of positional arguing. Mediation skills are about guiding others through conflict without taking sides. A good facilitator stays neutral, manages the process, documents agreements visibly, and helps reframe blame into shared problems. Mastering these skills makes it easier for teams to own solutions and for disputes to end with credible, sustainable outcomes. Maintaining neutrality starts with paraphrasing both sides and using first-person plural language to show shared purpose, while seating and process choices should avoid perceived advantage. If you have any personal stake, declare it briefly to preserve credibility, and always document agreements so memory remains aligned and accountability is clear. A helpful mediation move is reframing blame into mutual problem statements and then crafting smart deals, agreements that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Smart language turns vague promises into trackable actions so solutions become practical, testable, and easier to revisit if they need adjustment. Prevention culture focuses on norms that make healthy disagreement normal and safe. By embedding small habits, meeting check-ins, rotating dissent roles, and anonymous pulse surveys, you can normalize early issue raising and reduce the cost of conflicts while keeping psychological safety front and center for ongoing team performance. Concrete norms include establishing meeting check-ins, rewarding people for raising issues rather than masking problems, and using structured roles to surface dissent constructively. Research shows teams with high psychological safety resolve conflicts faster and innovate more, so these proactive steps directly translate into better performance and creativity. Embedding feedback loops ensures learning from both successes and conflicts. Institute quarterly retrospectives, peer-to-peer kudos boards, and after-action reviews, assign ownership for lessons learned, and track closure on project dashboards so processes continuously refine and minor frictions are nipped in the bud before they escalate. In the final section, we focus on action planning, turning insight into practice by building a personal toolkit and team-level systems. The goal is to make the techniques habitual, rehearsed, measured, and reinforced so conflicts become manageable moments of improvement rather than recurring disruptions. A compact personal toolkit might include a one-page guide with self-assessment scores, a style selection flowchart, a 6-step script card, a question bank, and a neutral language cheat sheet. Rehearse with a colleague, set measurable goals like reducing escalations by a target percentage, and take personal responsibility for practicing these skills regularly. For team-level change, draft a living charter that codifies decision rights, communication channels, conflict entry points, and escalation paths. Secure executive endorsement, assign rotating conflict stewards, and set calendar reminders for toolkit refreshers so these practices become part of daily workflow rather than one-off training. Thank you for exploring Mastering Conflict, from clash to collaboration. Practice the techniques, use the toolkit, and bring these habits into your next meeting. Small changes lead to big improvements in trust and performance. If you want to go deeper, revisit any module and experiment with one new behavior this week.